Welcome to the Wisdom Ones channel. We are so glad you have joined us today. This journey we're about to embark on is one that will open your mind and heart to the truth, beyond the illusions that often cloud our perception. Here, we explore deep, transformative wisdom that touches the very core of our being, shedding light on the hidden truths that shape our reality. I invite you to stay with us as we uncover the secrets that lie within, and together shift our understanding of the world around us. There is a timeless truth embedded in the teachings that we are created in the image of the divine, and that the essence of love is not something we need to acquire, but something we already possess. This divine love is not conditional or fleeting. It is a constant, unchanging presence that flows from within us, rooted in our very being. When we open our hearts to this understanding, we realize that we have been equipped from the very beginning to embody this love. It is not something we earn through deeds, nor is it dependent on the approval of others. This love, which the scriptures often speak of as agape, selfless, unconditional love, is the same love that resides within us, waiting to be recognized. We are reminded that God is love, and as we are made in God's image, this love is our true nature. When we let go of the illusions and attachments that have kept us bound, we begin to see that love is not something we seek in external sources, but something we manifest through our connection with the divine within. In the space, we can truly live out the commandment to love our neighbors as ourselves, because we finally understand the depth of what that love means. It is the same love that sustains and completes us. Before we dive deep into this life-changing topic, I ask that you take a moment to engage with this video. Please comment amen below and hit the subscribe button to join the Wisdom Ones family. Your support through super thanks means a lot to the Wisdom Ones channel. Thank you so much for your generosity, and a special shout out to everyone who's already donated. It's because of your kindness that this message can reach those who need it the most. Now, let's begin this powerful exploration. On the captivating journey of self-discovery, we often find ourselves caught in a maze of perceptions that shape our reality. We are constantly looking outward, believing that acceptance, validation, happiness, peace, and love are all just beyond our grasp. We look to the world around us, convinced that these treasures are held in the hands of others, waiting for their approval before we can truly feel fulfilled. But what if this belief is an illusion? What if true fulfillment isn't something that can be found in external sources, but within us, waiting to be unlocked? We often strive to reach specific milestones, thinking that once we accomplish them, happiness and tranquility will follow. We imagine that these achievements will grant us the peace we've been seeking. However, despite our best efforts, something still feels incomplete. Our souls seem to be searching for something more. In our longing for connection, we turn to others, often believing that romantic relationships or external unions will provide the missing pieces that will make us whole. But this is a dangerous illusion, one that, when fully understood, reveals the fragility of its foundation. The belief that our wholeness lies in others is like chasing shadows in the dark. It's an enticing mirage that, once recognized, shows itself to be built on shifting sands. The truth is, the external world, with all its fleeting promises of happiness and love, can never fully satisfy the deep desires of our soul. This quest for external fulfillment is rooted in the ego, which is constantly chasing after worldly desires, wealth, recognition, intimacy, and adoration. These are all beautiful things, no doubt, but they are merely fragments of a much greater truth. The ego's quest for more never ends. Each new acquisition provides a temporary sense of satisfaction, but this feeling fades away, and the ego craves more. And so, the cycle continues. This is not to say that seeking external fulfillment is wrong. It's simply incomplete. The real question is whether there's something within us, beyond these desires and worldly pursuits, that can offer true peace and contentment. Could there be an aspect of our being that exists beyond the reach of the ego? Something that is not affected by the constant ebb and flow of external circumstances? Now, imagine an inner realm, a space within you that requires no external sustenance to thrive. This part of you is whole, complete, and radiates unconditional love. It doesn't need anything because it already contains everything. This essence, often referred to as the soul, consciousness, or simply the undefinable, is the core of all existence. It is the truth that lies beyond the ever-changing circumstances of the world around us, but the ego, in its quest for control and validation, often clouds our connection to this inner truth. Ego paints a different picture. It creates a narrative whispering that something is wrong, that we are incomplete or broken. But if we look closely, we'll realize that these are not truths at all. They are merely the echoes of a fragmented sense of self. Imagine for a moment that you are not your ego, not your thoughts, not the story you tell yourself about who you are. In this space, all the struggles and perceived misfortunes dissolve into nothingness, and you are left with the pure essence of your being. Your sensation brings profound clarity. You are not broken. You have never been broken. What you thought was missing is simply a creation of the mind. Healing, then, is not about fixing yourself. It's about releasing the beliefs, the attachments, and the stories that weigh down your spirit. As you let go of these illusions, clarity begins to emerge. You see that you are and always have been whole. What you perceived as brokenness was simply an illusion, a belief that was never truly you. This is the great freedom that arises when we stop chasing after external sources of validation and instead turn inward to connect with the truth of who we are. Now, consider this reality we live in. What if everything we perceive, the world, our relationships, our successes and failures, is nothing more than a projection? What if this reality, so solid and tangible, is not as real as it seems? Think of it as a dream, a tapestry woven by the threads of consciousness. Some liken it to a simulation, not in the digital sense, but in the sense that our consciousness brings this entire experience to life. At the core of it all, there is nothing but consciousness. Everything we see, touch, and experience is a manifestation of this single, all-encompassing force. But here's where the mystery deepens. Even though everything we perceive is a reflection of this underlying consciousness, we often see it as separate. This sense of separation is the root of our endless quest for love, validation, and fulfillment. We believe that we need others to complete us, that love must come from someone else, and that our happiness depends on external circumstances. But this belief is the very illusion that keeps us trapped in the cycle of longing and searching. The love, acceptance, and validation we seek externally are not out there waiting for us, they reside within. Self-love is the key to unlocking the fulfillment we crave. It's not about seeking love from others, but about recognizing that love is already within you, always has been, and always will be. It's an unconditional flame that burns quietly within, waiting to be acknowledged. This recognition shifts everything. No longer do we need to seek love from others to feel complete. Instead, we begin to share the love that is already flowing through us, radiating outward and connecting with the world in a deeper, more meaningful way. Imagine the freedom that comes with this realization. No longer do you need to rely on others for validation or acceptance. No longer are your interactions born from a sense of emptiness or lack. Instead, you begin to operate from a place of wholeness, knowing that you are enough just as you are. This shift in perspective transforms everything. You no longer need to seek validation from others because you know that your worth is inherent. You are not defined by what others think of you, but by the truth of your being. This is the power of embracing your own essence, the power to change your reality from the inside out. When you realize that you are already whole, already loved, already complete, the external world begins to shift. Need for validation fades away, replaced by a deep sense of inner peace and contentment. You become the creator of your reality, the architect of your fulfillment. You no longer look to others to define your worth because you know that your worth is beyond measure. You are the alchemist, transforming the base metal of longing into the gold of self-realization. As we continue this journey, I invite you to consider the world not as a static, unchanging place, but as a canvas upon which you paint your experiences. The illusion of separation begins to fade, revealing a deeper truth. You are not separate from the world around you. You are one with it. As you connect with the love within you, you begin to see the world through new eyes, eyes that recognize the beauty in everything, even in the most ordinary moments. This is the beginning of a profound transformation, a journey that will forever change the way you see yourself in the world. Your quest for love, fulfillment, And validation is not a search for something outside of yourself, but a journey inward. As you uncover the treasures within, you realize that everything you've ever sought has always been there, waiting for you to recognize it. This is the beginning of the end of your search, because you are the answer you've been looking for all along. Stay with us as we continue to explore this profound truth and let the wisdom that lies within you come to light. As you delve deeper into this profound journey of self-realization, there comes a moment where everything you thought you knew starts to shift. Imagine for a moment that the source of all fulfillment, all peace, and all love has never been external. It was never about finding the right person, the right job, or the right situation to complete you. The illusion that we need something or someone outside of ourselves to make us whole is one of the most powerful and pervasive ideas in our world today. We've been taught that happiness lies somewhere out there, and for so long, many of us have searched for it, tried to capture it, grasp it, but it always seems to slip away, like water running through our fingers. What if this constant search for external validation is actually the very thing that keeps us from realizing the truth about who we are? The truth is, everything we seek outside of ourselves, love, acceptance, peace, has always been within us. These are not treasures hidden in other people's approval or in external achievements, but are inherent qualities of our very being. You see, fulfillment doesn't come from what you acquire, nor from the people you surround yourself with. It comes from recognizing the infinite source of love and peace that exists within you, simply because that is what you are at your core. You are not incomplete. You are not lacking. You have always been whole, and the recognition of this truth is the key that unlocks your liberation. This shift in perception is like peeling away the layers of a carefully constructed illusion that has been keeping you from realizing your true self. The more we strive for external validation, the more we bind ourselves to the idea that our worth is tied to what we can acquire, to what others think of us. But in truth, this only leads to dissatisfaction and a deep yearning that can never be fully satisfied. No matter how much we achieve, no matter how much we gain, there is always a voice within us that whispers that something is missing. This voice is not the truth. It is the ego's voice, a voice that thrives on the illusion of separation, the belief that you are incomplete, that you need something else to feel whole. Yet, what if this sense of lack is not reality, but a mere shadow cast by the mind? The mind, with its endless stories and narratives, creates the illusion that we are separate from everything around us, that we are disconnected from the world, from others, and from ourselves. It is this illusion that drives us to search for love, approval, and validation in the wrong places. But when you begin to see through this illusion, when you begin to recognize the truth of who you are, something miraculous happens. You begin to understand that love and fulfillment are not things to be found. They are things to be. This is where the power of self-love comes into play. Self-love is not just a concept or a trendy term. It is the very foundation of inner peace and fulfillment. It is the deep recognition that you are enough just as you are without needing to change, prove, or earn anything. Self-love is not born from egoic desires or external achievements. It is born from a deep understanding of your innate worth, your connection to the infinite source of love that flows through you. When you tap into this love, everything in your life begins to shift. Your relationships, your work, your interactions with the world, all begin to reflect the love that you have cultivated within yourself. This love is not dependent on others, nor is it fragile. It is a love that is constant, unchanging, and unconditional. It is the love that exists at the very core of your being, and once you recognize it, it becomes impossible to separate yourself from it. In the absence of this love, we often feel as if something is missing, as if we are incomplete. But when we embrace the truth of who we are, we see that we are never incomplete. We are whole, we are in love, and we have always been. This realization is not about becoming something new. It is about remembering who you have always been. It's about shedding the layers of conditioning and beliefs that have obscured your true essence. When you let go of these false notions, when you release the stories the mind tells you about being broken or needing to fix yourself, you begin to return to the purity of your essence. You begin to experience life in a new way, no longer searching for love or fulfillment outside of yourself, but recognizing that everything you've ever wanted is already here, within. Imagine for a moment that you no longer need to seek approval from others. Imagine that the love you give and receive is no longer contingent on anyone else's opinion of you. This is the power of self-love. It frees you from the endless cycle of needing to prove yourself to others. When you live from this place, you stop seeking love because you already embody it. You stop yearning for external validation because you know that your worth is intrinsic, not dependent on anyone's recognition. This freedom is what allows you to live authentically, to be truly yourself without fear of judgment or rejection. The love that you seek is already within you. It always has been. All that is required is that you recognize it, that you allow it to shine through. And when you do, the world around you begins to mirror that love. The relationships you cultivate, the work you do, the way you interact with others, all of it becomes an expression of the love that you have cultivated within yourself. No longer are you searching for love from the outside world, but you are allowing that love to pour forth from within you effortlessly. This is the shift in perception that changes everything. This is the journey of self-realization, the journey of recognizing the truth of who you are. It's a journey that takes you back to the essence of your being, to the core of your existence, where love is not something you need to acquire, but something you are. When you see this, you no longer need to seek love from others because you recognize that love flows from you, and in doing so, it touches everything around you. As you walk this path, remember that you are the source of the love you seek. You are the creator of your own fulfillment. The external world is simply a reflection of what you have realized within yourself. When you truly understand this, you no longer look outside of yourself for the validation and approval that once seemed so necessary. Instead, you recognize that you are whole, you are complete, and you have always been. I encourage you to reflect on this truth, to sit with it, and allow it to resonate deeply within you. And as you do, I invite you to share your thoughts with us. Leave a comment below with the word "men" to affirm this truth in your life. And don't forget to subscribe to the Wisdom Ones channel to continue on this journey of self-realization and love. Your support through super thanks means a lot to the Wisdom Ones channel. Thank you so much for your generosity, and a special shout out to everyone who's already donated. It's because of your kindness that this message can reach those who need it the most. Thank you for being here, and for allowing this wisdom to resonate within you. Together, we are awakening to the truth of who we really are. Take care, and I look forward to sharing more of this journey with you soon. As we stand on the precipice of this great revelation, there is something profoundly transformative that happens when we begin to shift our perception of ourselves and the world around us. This shift is not an intellectual understanding or a mere realization that we tell ourselves in passing. It is an awakening of the soul, a deep knowing that stirs the very core of your being and changes everything. You are not the sum of your circumstances, not the story that your mind tells about you, nor the image that the world projects upon you. What you are, what we all are, is something far beyond what the mind can comprehend. We are beings of consciousness, of love, and of infinite potential. And in this realization, there is the possibility of true liberation. When we begin to truly understand that the love and fulfillment we have been seeking in the outside world are already within us, we unlock a profound sense of freedom. It's a freedom that transcends the usual chains of external validation, the constant need to prove our worth, and the nagging fear of not being enough. Up until this point, many of us have spent our lives searching for happiness and love outside ourselves, thinking that if we just achieve a certain goal or gain approval from others, we would feel complete. But the truth is, this external validation is fleeting and unstable. It only brings temporary satisfaction and often leaves us feeling empty and wanting more. The real truth, the one that sets us free, is that everything we need, everything we have been searching for, is already within us. This internal source of love and fulfillment is not something that can be found in the material world, nor is it something that can be given to us by others. It's a quiet, inner power that has always been there, waiting for us to recognize it. This power doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't demand recognition, and it is not contingent on the opinions of others. It is a silent strength that arises when we come to know who we truly are. When we stop looking for answers outside ourselves and start recognizing the innate wisdom and love that already reside within us. It's the power of self-acceptance and self-love. and it is the foundation for true peace. This inner power is not something loud or boastful. It doesn't need to be flaunted. Instead, it is a quiet confidence, rooted in a deep understanding that we are enough as we are. It's the confidence that comes from knowing that we don't need to chase after external approval, that our worth is not dependent on external achievements or the validation of others. It's a sense of inner peace that remains unshaken, no matter the chaos or turbulence around us. And the world may change, circumstances may fluctuate, but this inner peace remains steadfast. And when we tap into this wellspring of inner power, we realize that we are no longer at the mercy of external forces. We no longer feel compelled to prove ourselves to others or to seek validation through material possessions or accomplishments. Instead, we stand firm in our truth, rooted in the knowledge that we are already whole, already loved, and already enough. This realization shifts our entire perspective on life, allowing us to move through the world with a sense of calm and confidence that cannot be shaken. This inner power allows us to break free from the illusion that love is something we must chase or acquire from the outside world. The world around us, with its constant demands, distractions, and shifting priorities, has conditioned us to believe that love is something we must seek, something we need to prove ourselves worthy of. We are often led to believe that love comes in many forms: success, material wealth, romantic relationships, or the admiration of others. Society teaches us that love is conditional, something that can be earned or lost depending on our actions or sacrifices for others. We have been taught that love is something that can be given and taken, something that can be lost or won. This view of love is deeply ingrained in our culture, and it leads many of us to believe that we must constantly strive for more in order to feel loved, accepted, or worthy. However, this concept of love is a distortion of its true nature. Love, in its purest form, is not something that is earned or given under certain conditions. It is not dependent on how much we accomplish or how much we sacrifice for others. Love is not something we must chase after, nor is it something that can be found in external circumstances. The truth is, love is not something we need to go out and find. It is something that we already are. It is the very essence of who we are, the core of our being. Love has always been present within us, even if we didn't always recognize it. We spend so much of our lives looking for love in all the wrong places, believing that if we just have enough, achieve enough, or gain the approval of others, then we will finally feel loved and complete. But the truth is that all of these external pursuits only offer fleeting satisfaction. They cannot provide the deep, unshakable love that we long for because they are temporary and changeable. Success, material possessions, and social status can be gained and lost, and romantic relationships, while meaningful, can also be fraught with challenges and uncertainties. These things can never give us the lasting fulfillment that we seek. True love is constant, unchanging, and unconditional. It doesn't come from external circumstances, and it is not dependent on anyone or anything. Love is something that is already within us, waiting to be acknowledged and embraced. It is not something we must earn, nor is it something that is given only to those who meet certain conditions. It is a part of our essence, a fundamental aspect of who we are. When we begin to recognize this truth, we stop searching for love in places where it can never truly be found. We realize that we've been looking for love in the wrong places, and that the love we seek has always been within us, just waiting for us to recognize and embrace it. This realization is liberating. It frees us from the endless cycle of seeking and striving for love in external circumstances. It allows us to let go of the need for validation from others and to stop measuring our worth based on external achievements. When we understand that love is not something we need to earn or acquire, we can finally rest in the truth that we are already loved and complete. We are no longer bound by the belief that we must do more, be more, or have more in order to feel loved. Instead, we can simply be knowing that love is already present within us. This is why the endless search for external love, no matter how intense or desperate, will always leave us feeling like something is missing, something is incomplete. No matter how much we receive or achieve, the longing doesn't seem to be satisfied. It's because the love we've been seeking outside of ourselves is not something external. It is within us, quietly waiting to be rediscovered. We've spent so much time looking for it in the wrong places, believing that if we just have the right relationship, the right career, or the right possessions, then we will feel truly loved and whole. But all along, the love we've been searching for was never out there. It was always within, hidden behind the layers of self-doubt, fear, and societal conditioning that made us believe it was somewhere else. Coming to this realization is both a profound liberation and a humbling awakening. It can be overwhelming to recognize that we have always had everything we need to feel loved, complete, and whole right within ourselves. The idea that we don't need to search for something external to fill that void, that longing, can be difficult to accept at first. For so long, we have been conditioned to believe that love is something we must chase, that it is something that can only be found in relationships with others or in external validation. Yet, the truth is that love has always been present within us. It just took us time to realize it. Understanding this truth is incredibly empowering. It means that we are not dependent on anyone or anything for our sense of self-worth. We are no longer beholden to the opinions, expectations, or validation of others in order to feel worthy of love. We don't have to measure our worth by how much we give to others or by how much others approve of us. Instead, we can find peace in the knowledge that we are complete as we are. We're not broken, we're not incomplete, and we don't need to earn love. We simply need to recognize that we already possess it within ourselves. This realization brings a deep sense of freedom. It frees us from the constant chase, from the need to prove ourselves to the world. We no longer need to perform to be something we're not, or to seek the approval of others in order to feel worthy. We already are worthy. We are deserving of love, not because we've earned it or because we've done something to deserve it, but because it is our birthright. We don't have to rely on others to make us feel validated or complete because we have everything we need within us. The journey to recognizing this truth is not always easy, and it requires courage to let go of the old beliefs and patterns that have held us back. We must be willing to face our fears, to confront the limiting beliefs that have shaped our sense of self-worth, and to allow ourselves to truly believe that we are enough just as we are. It may take time, but as we begin to embrace our inherent worthiness and the love that resides within us, we can experience a deep and lasting peace that transcends the external world. We can stand firm in the knowing that we are complete and whole no matter what happens around us. When we no longer rely on others or the external world to fill us up, we begin to live from a place of authenticity and truth. We no longer need to wear masks or pretend to be something we are not in order to feel loved or accepted. We can simply be ourselves fully and unapologetically, knowing that we are already loved just as we are. This freedom is not about rejecting relationships or withdrawing from the world. It is about entering the world with a sense of inner strength, peace, and self-love. We no longer look to others to validate us. Instead, we enter into relationships with the understanding that we are whole and complete, and we can give and receive love freely without the need for anything in return. As we cultivate this deep inner love and understanding, we begin to see the world and others differently. We stop seeing love as a commodity to be traded or earned, and we start to see it as a boundless energy that flows from within. We no longer feel the need to prove ourselves to others because we know that we are already enough. We can begin to experience love in its purest form without the fear, doubt, or insecurity that often accompanies the search for external validation. This love is unconditional. It doesn't depend on what we do, what we achieve, or how others perceive us. It is the love that comes from knowing who we truly are, and it radiates outward, touching everyone and everything we encounter. The more we align ourselves with this love, the more we begin to attract experiences, relationships, and opportunities that reflect our true worth. We no longer settle for situations or people that don't honor our authenticity and our self-love. We begin to attract relationships that are based on mutual respect, kindness, and genuine connection because we no longer tolerate anything less. We stop chasing after things that don't serve us, and we begin to attract the people, circumstances, and opportunities that are in alignment with our true selves. In essence, the recognition that love is not something we need to seek outside of ourselves is a transformative realization. It is the key to true freedom, peace, and fulfillment. Once we realize that love is not something we have to earn or chase, we can begin to live from a place of self-love and authenticity, where we are no longer dependent on the approval of others or external circumstances to feel complete. We are free to simply be, knowing that we are already whole, already worthy, and already loved. This shift in perspective allows us to live with greater ease, joy, and confidence. We no longer need to prove ourselves or seek validation, because we know that our worth is not defined by anything outside of ourselves. We are free to live life on our own terms, guided by the love and peace that resides within. And when we live from this place of inner love, we not only transform our own lives, but we also begin to create a ripple effect, inspiring others to recognize and embrace their own inner love and worth. So, as you reflect on these words and take them to heart, I invite you to remember this simple truth. You are enough just as you are. You are worthy of love, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. Your essence is love, and that love is already within you, waiting for you to acknowledge it. And when you do, you will experience a freedom and peace like no other. Freedom from the need for external validation, and peace in knowing that you are already whole and complete. Let this truth guide you, and let it transform the way you see yourself and the world around you. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to share it with others, to comment Amen below, and to subscribe to the Wisdom Ones channel. Your support through super thanks means a lot to the Wisdom Ones channel. Thank you so much for your generosity, and a special shout out to everyone who's already donated. It's because of your kindness that this message can reach those who need it the most. This journey is not about becoming someone new. It is about uncovering the essence of who we've always been, beneath the layers of conditioning and external expectations that have been placed upon us over the years. From the moment we were born, we started to pick up beliefs, ideas, and stories about who we should be, what we should desire, and what we need in order to feel complete. Society, culture, family, and even our own minds have woven these stories into the fabric of our lives, creating a sense of identity that feels real but is, in fact, just a construct. This constructed identity is shaped by external forces, by expectations, and by the constant pressure to conform and fit into a mold that isn't truly ours. As we grow older, we become so deeply entangled in these beliefs that we forget who we truly are. We begin to identify with the stories we've been told, the roles we've been assigned, and the expectations placed on us. We start to believe that we are defined by what we do, how we look, what we own, or how others perceive us. This is where the cycle of seeking external validation begins. We search for confirmation, for approval, for love outside of ourselves, because we believe that these things are what will complete us, make us feel worthy, or prove that we are enough. But the truth is, all of these external validations are fleeting. They are temporary fixes that never truly fill the void we feel inside. The need for validation never goes away because, deep down, we know that the source of true fulfillment does not lie in the approval of others or in the material things we accumulate. True fulfillment comes from within, from a place of self-awareness and self-acceptance. It comes from reconnecting with the truth of who we really are beneath the layers of false identities and societal conditioning. This is where the process of peeling back the layers begins. It's not about becoming someone new or striving to be someone different. It's about returning to our original state of being before the world told us who we should be. It's about shedding the false identities that have been placed on us and the limiting beliefs that have held us captive. These beliefs may have once served us, but they no longer align with who we are now. They keep us trapped in a cycle of seeking approval and validation from others, when the truth is that we have always been enough, just as we are. Letting go of these old stories can be an uncomfortable process. It requires us to face the parts of ourselves that we've been avoiding, to confront the fears and doubts that have kept us from embracing our true nature. We may resist this process because it feels like we are losing something, like we are being stripped of our identity. But in reality, we are not losing anything. We are simply uncovering what has always been there, waiting for us to recognize it. We are rediscovering the love, peace, and wisdom that is innate to our being, and we are reconnecting with the truth of who we are. As we release these false identities, we begin to feel lighter, freer, and more connected to our true selves. We no longer need to chase after approval or seek validation from others. We begin to realize that we are already whole, already worthy, and already loved. The external world no longer has the power to define us or shape our sense of self-worth. We stop measuring ourselves by the standards set by others, and instead, we embrace our own unique essence. This process of peeling back the layers is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing journey of self-discovery and self-acceptance. As we continue to shed the layers of conditioning, we become more and more aligned with our true selves. We begin to see the world and others in a new light. We stop judging ourselves based on external standards, and we start to recognize that true beauty, power, and love come from within. The more we peel away the layers, the more we come to understand that we have always been perfect, just as the journey to reconnecting with our true selves is a profound and transformative one. It takes courage to let go of the stories we've been told about who we are and to face the truths that have been buried beneath the surface. But the rewards are immeasurable. When we finally release the false identities and limiting beliefs, we discover a deep sense of peace and fulfillment that can never be shaken by the ups and downs of life. We learn to trust ourselves, to love ourselves, and to honor our own worth. And in doing so, we become free from the need for external validation and begin to live a life that is true to who we really are. In this process of rediscovery, we learn that love is not something we need to earn or chase after. It is already within us, always has been, and always will be. Love is not something external that we need to seek. It is the essence of who we are. As we peel back the layers and reconnect with this truth, we experience a profound shift in our consciousness. We realize that we are not separate from the love we seek. We are the love we've been searching for all along. And when we embrace this truth, we begin to live a life of freedom, peace, and authenticity. We no longer feel the need to prove ourselves or seek approval from others because we know that we are enough, just as we are. We no longer look for love in the wrong places because we recognize that love is already within us. And with this newfound understanding, we begin to experience life in its fullest, knowing that we are complete and whole, just as we are. This truth is simple, yet profound. It is the recognition that we are already whole, we are already complete. There is nothing more we need to do, nothing more we need to acquire in order to feel loved, validated, or worthy. We are worthy simply because we exist. The mind, with all its doubts and fears, will try to tell you otherwise. It will try to convince you that you are not enough, that you need to do more or be more to earn love. But this is a lie. It is a lie that has been perpetuated by the ego, by the mind, and by the world around us. The truth is that we are all expressions of the same universal consciousness, the same love that binds the entire universe together. The love that we seek in others, in relationships, in achievements, is the same love that resides within us. It is a love that transcends the ego, the mind, and the external world. It is a love that is unconditional, unwavering, and unchanging. It is a love that accepts us as we are, without judgment or expectation. And when we recognize this love within ourselves, we begin to see it in everyone and everything around us. Voices in the world begins to shift when we stop seeing ourselves as separate from others. We are no longer bound by the need to compete, to compare, or to seek approval. We are free to simply be ourselves, to express our unique gifts and talents without fear. We begin to understand that we are not defined by our circumstances, by our past, or by the roles we play in the world. We are defined by our essence, by the love that flows through us. This love is not just an abstract concept or lofty idea. It is a tangible force that shapes our reality. When we recognize that we are the source of the love we seek, we begin to experience life in a new way. We begin to approach relationships with a sense of wholeness, no longer needing others to complete us, but instead offering love freely and unconditionally. We begin to experience a sense of peace that transcends the fluctuations of life, a peace that remains steady even in the face of challenges. The journey of self-realization is not always easy. It requires us to confront our fears, our doubts, and the limiting beliefs that we have held for so long. But it is through this process of self-discovery that we awaken to the truth of who we really are. And when we awaken to this truth, we realize that we are not the mind, the body, or the ego. We are the love that exists beyond all of these things. We are the consciousness that flows through everything, and we are deeply connected to all of existence. This connection is the key to true freedom. When we recognize that we are not separate from the world, that we are not separate from others, we stop seeing ourselves as isolated beings struggling to survive. Instead, we see ourselves as integral parts of the greater whole, as expressions of the same love that flows through all of creation. And when we see ourselves in this way, we begin to treat others with the same love and respect that we give to ourselves. We no longer need to defend ourselves, to prove ourselves, or to seek validation. We can simply be. This is the ultimate realization. The understanding that love, peace, and fulfillment are not things we need to chase after, but qualities that we already possess. They are part of our essence, part of who we are. And once we recognize this, our entire reality begins to shift. We stop searching for love in the wrong places. We stop trying to fix ourselves, to improve ourselves, to change who we are. We simply allow ourselves to be who we are, whole, complete, and full of love. This is the path to true freedom. It is the path of recognizing your innate worth, your connection to all that is, and your ability to live a life of love and peace. It is the path of shedding the layers of the ego, of transcending the need for external validation, and of returning to the truth of who you really are. When you walk this path, you no longer need to seek love. You become love, and you radiate that love out into the world. I hope that this message has touched you deeply, and that it serves as a reminder of the truth that resides within you. You are already whole, you are already complete, and you are already love. If this message resonates with you, I invite you to share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. Leave the word Amen to affirm this truth in your life. And don't forget to subscribe to the Wisdom Ones channel for more insights on this journey of self-realization and love. Your support through super thanks means a lot to the Wisdom Ones channel. Thank you so much for your generosity, and a special shout out to everyone who's already donated. It's because of your kindness that this message can reach those who need it the most. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Take care, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon.